Czechs Maria and Milos Zelnichkov lived in their socialist homeland and were barely making ends meet when their daughter Ivana was born in 1949. Engineer Milos, who dreamed of a son, raised his daughter as a boy. She was involved in sports and won her first skiing competition at the age of 6. And after graduating from school, she went to seek her fortune in Prague. There she studied pedagogy, worked as a model. The talented skier was invited to the national team. Everything seemed to be going great. The girl fell in love with the famous poet Jiri Steidl, but unfortunately, he unexpectedly died in a car accident. Ivana was grieving the loss of her first great love. At that time, Soviet tanks entered Prague, leaving no hope for a free and happy future. She was constantly tormented by the same annoying thought about the unenviable prospect of finishing her studies and living, like everyone else, behind the Iron Curtain. No, it's not for her. Ivana was not one of those people who sit idly by. The only way to escape from the socialist camp without hurting loved ones was a fictitious marriage with a foreigner. As soon as the opportunity presented itself, she didn't hesitate for a second. The determined girl worked as a model in Montreal in a short time, earning $50,000 a year. Compared to the miserable existence in his native socialist Czechoslovakia, this was a significant step forward. In 1976, Ivana went to New York to advertise the Olympic Games in Montreal. Ivana Zelnichkova was having fun spending a free evening with her friends in a nightclub when Donald Trump, one of the richest people in America, an enviable fiancé, the dream of many women, also looked in that evening. It was impossible not to notice Ivana, a bright, long-legged beauty, especially since Trump had a weakness for the female sex. He half-jokingly invited Ivana to go skiing together. She did not hesitate to choose the famous Aspen resort in Colorado. When Ivana started skiing in Aspen, Donald was stunned. She glided much better than any man. He did not even suspect that Ivana was not just a beauty, but a member of the national team. After that, Donald admitted that he had been looking for a beauty and an athlete in one person all his life, and Ivana turned out to be also smart. They got married soon after. The first 8 years of their life together flew by like a fairy tale. After a modest life in Czechoslovakia and the hard work of a model in Canada, Ivan was waiting for a royal apartment in the Trump Tower skyscraper, a vacation at their own villa in Palm Beach, a private plane, limousines, several dozen servants and cooks. However, Ivana was not going to be idle. Together with her husband, she bought casinos, built skyscrapers. Trump entrusted his wife with the management of casinos and hotels. Every morning she flew to work in her tiny helicopter, and at 5 o'clock in the evening she returned to the children, Donald, Ivanka, and Erica. It was slandered that her husband set her $1 salary for a year, but he bought as many gorgeous clothes as her soul desired. Donald Trump does not smoke or drink alcohol, however. As mentioned above, he is unable to resist female beauty. After a few years, family life bored him, and Ivana's efforts to preserve her youth did not cause the feelings that she expected. My God, who can touch this silicone breast? There was talk that a rich man was hiding a mistress in his hotels, but the yellowest paparazzi probably wouldn't have been able to find her. Just imagine how many hotels Trump has, if she hadn't brazenly come out of hiding herself. Trump's new passion was Marla Maples, the official beauty queen of the state of Georgia. Ironically, a cruel blow overtook Ivana at the same Aspen resort where she and Donald spent the most passionate vacation of their lives. In 1990, on Christmas Eve, Ivana ran into Marla here, who openly declared that she was in love with her husband. The loud dialogue of the women was heard by the newspaper, and soon the whole of America was enjoying a new scandal. This was the end of the fairy tale. Donald Trump moved into a bachelor apartment 10 floors below, and the difficult divorce process began. And again, Ivana was determined, hiring a well-known lawyer to protect her interests. The result of her efforts is impressive. Ivana snatched over $20 million from her rich husband, several luxurious houses, besides expensive gifts, chic clothes, furs, and jewelry. In high society, they waited with bated breath for what would happen to a woman who was left without the support of such a rich and influential husband. But Ivana wasn't going to get depressed or rest on Donald's millions. She created her own company, Ivana Inc., the fashion house Ivana Haute Couture engaged in the sale of perfumes, cosmetics, and accessories on the internet. Her business turnover was several $1,000,000 a year. In addition, the active woman wrote a couple of novels, played in the movie The First Wives Club, starred in a television commercial. Who would have thought to claim in a few years that she is nothing without Donald Trump? Ivana's new marriage to Riccardo Mazzucchelli lasted only 2 years, and at the age of 57, this Salmon lioness had an affair with Italian model Rossano Rubicondi, who was 23 years younger than her. She explained her passion for young men simply: it's better to be a nanny than a nurse. When asked what awaits their couple in 5 years, Ivana quipped, "If he dies, then he will die." And I advised women who were betrayed by their husbands, never mind take everything from him, even the last name, if it can be useful. 76-year-old Donald Trump entered the history of the United States as the 45th president of the country, a billionaire and a charming, charismatic man. Donald Trump has been married 3 times. A tall, statuesque blonde man was often attracted to girls of model appearance. The billionaire's wives, describing Donald, are unanimous. He spends too much time at work, forgetting about his chosen ones. Trump really gives his all to work, works 7 days a week and vacations. But with all the employment, Donald Trump finds time to communicate with children. This quality of a responsible father is noted by both the billionaire's ex-wives and Melania, the current chosen one of the ex-president. The businessman's children were brought up strictly, and from early childhood their father demanded that they strictly follow the rule: never drink or smoke, never be late under any circumstances. To create a successful company, Trump had a hard time. He was able to succeed in business by overcoming setbacks and surviving bankruptcy. Trump considers his experience useful and teaches children by his example. A loving father is convinced that parents are obliged to teach their heirs how to handle money and help them take the first steps in their careers. Trump's company is called a family contract for a reason. Currently, his children work next to him. Sons, 45-year-old Donald and 38-year-old Eric, as well as 41-year-old daughter Ivanka. The father managed to convince his heirs that they will definitely succeed, but for this they need to work hard and constantly raise their bar higher in order to lay the foundation for self-esteem.